Hello, my name is Evia and I'm the founder of Fairytale Balloons. Today we will be showing you how to construct the garland using a balloon strip, which you will have received in your DIY kit. For your DIY kit, we'll need to use either hand pump, which wasn't part of the DIY kit unless you purchase it separately, or an electric pump. Electric pump does make things easier, but you can also get away with just a hand pump. So let's start having some fun. I'll get our first balloon. One common mistake that is often made by all balloon inflators is over-inflating them. Ideally, they are more close, you can either press them down, which will be ball. So tie them up, get your balloon strip. As you will see in your balloon strip, there are a lot of little holes. And you put the balloon neck through one of these holes. It'll take a bit of practice initially, but you have to stay patient and stay positive. And then you continue with the rest of the balloons. For mixing up your colours, no matter which balloon kit you would have chosen, it's up to you whether you want to mix them or whether you want to go in block colours. In your DIY kit, some of the balloons, you'll be getting standard sizes, which is 11-inch, but some of the balloons will be slightly bigger, so not the biggest ones, which are 24-inch, but in between. So make sure to also integrate these through your balloon garland and hopefully spread it out. Don't just have 3 bigger balloons in one section. As you can see, it's starting to come closer to a nice garland. Do you need to insert the balloon necks in every single hole? Not necessarily. You can see I certainly haven't. Only so much that it seems dense, that there aren't too many gaps in between. But we will be also using towards smaller balloons and bigger balloons where you can cover any gaps if necessary. And now we are ready to add our next colour. You don't need to have this as big as that, you can do it your own way, but this is at a point where I think, depending on the size of the garland, where it's time to introduce the next colour. If you are using hand pump, this process will take you a little bit longer, but yeah, you just have to stick with it and you might actually get some pretty good biceps by the end of it. If you start seeing gaps, bigger gaps like I'm seeing here, you can just inflate one balloon and add it in between balloons. this is starting to come all nice and together, and I might add the next color, which is in my case white. One good thing about balloon garlands is what makes them actually more attractive is the lack of pattern. So just because, for example, this cluster of balloons is this big, it doesn't mean the next one needs to be as big. And also with the spread of colors, I will do one cluster like this, the next cluster is copper, and the cluster after will be white, but it doesn't mean that I would continue in such a pattern if I'd be building a bigger garland. It doesn't have to be mustard, copper, white, mustard, copper, white. Then you can start mixing it. The next color, for example, I may want to add mustard, and that is what makes the garland more interesting. Just like with the sizes, so it doesn't need to be, so remove consistency. Now, going back to what I mentioned about having lack of consistency in garlands is better, here's another example. When you're including the bigger balloons, make sure they're looking different directions. For example, you can see now the mustard one is looking that way, the white one will be looking a different way. Obviously, it will start looking slightly different once you tie it up. But if it goes in a way that you don't like, you can easily move these balloons around without popping them. If you like patterns, if you like consistency, when you're building a balloon garland, try to resist using these habits. Now you can see our string of balloon garland. What I'll do now, and you will have this included in your DIY kit, is take one of the long balloons and attach it where we want it to go. In our case, I have a frame, so that makes my job easy, but if you're planning to attach them on the wall, you might get some command hooks. Bear in mind that command hooks you will need to apply beforehand, so they have proper time to stick. So what I do is I just go, I put this balloon string around several of the balloon necks. You can start it at the bottom, or you can start it anywhere where you want. And I just tie them, just a simple double knot. And as you can see, we still do need to add the tail. This is the tail of the balloon. And I want my big balloon to look at big ball. So always put more focus and add more detail to the side where people will be looking at it. As you can see here, my big balloons and other smaller balloons that I will be adding will be added to the top of it. If people were looking at both sides, at the back and at the front, obviously then I'll need to add more details at the back as well. But in this case, and in most cases, and most projects that I work on, there tends to be one main side of the garland where we put most focus on. So far we have been using the balloon strip to create this side of the garland. Now I want to show you a different technique which also creates balloon garlands, and this technique is used by our business to create garlands for all of our clients. It might vary between balloon businesses and balloon stylists, but what they don't tend to use is the balloon strips. Balloon strips, the feedback has been that it makes it easier for customers to create the balloon garlands, but this is not a technique that we use in businesses. And feel free to follow along with the balloon strip. I thought I'll just show you another technique, which, who knows, you might find it even easier to use, but so far the usability tends to go towards balloon strip. At least that's the feedback we've been receiving so far. For this next method, you have the option to use the balloon hand pump or electric pump. I will use electric pump just to make this process faster. So I'll start now. Same tendencies tends to be when making this balloon garland is when people try overinflate balloons. So this balloon is overinflated. A well inflated balloon is one that actually looks more in the shape as a shape of a ball as opposed to a pear. To flatten it, I will push against push my hand against the top of it, and I will release the air. Then I take both of the balloon ends, cross my arms across, stretch the necks, and tie them close to the base of the balloon as possible to have longer strings of the balloon ends. Why we need longer balloon ends, you will see throughout, it's because it makes it easier to tie them together. So I'll just continue. You then do the same thing. You inflate the next few of your balloons. You take these two balloons and these two, and then you actually tie them together. So that's your first quadruplet. Then you repeat the same process again. I might add another big balloon, 16-inch. Take these four and tie them together. Keep tying, rotating balloons around. Until you see one big knot in between, which should look similar to this. Now this already will be considered as one cluster. And it's up to you whether you want to make it bigger or not. This one I might add a few more. And here you'll see why you need longer balloon necks. I take the longest balloon neck out of these four, and I find the longest balloon neck in the other cluster, and I tie them together. It might not be as easy at the start. I think from my experience, most people struggle with this at the end, but you will get the hang of it if you stick at it. And now you can see a nice cluster of balloons. So this is our other garland. And if in your case you end up building, maybe there might be two of you working, so one of it there might be, so both of you might come up with clusters like these. You can actually tie them together, again, using a balloon tie. Having a frame makes it easier, but if you don't have a frame, just use a balloon, or you're welcome to tie the necks of these two together, or you can use a balloon strip to tie the two clusters together. It's already coming together quite nice, so I'll just continue with the process so we don't have again consistent patterns of mustard, copper and white. And now again mustard, copper. I'll include white now. For me personally, this method, not using the balloon strip, is just so much easier because I'm used to it. But go with whatever works for you better. If you're using a frame similar to this, you can actually just pop the balloons on it, like by squeezing them in between and right to the knot. Or otherwise, again, you can tie it to the existing cluster. Starting to come together quite lovely, and we'll end off with another copper set. I only have one left, so I'll just tie it into with the other two. I'll tie them by the necks and combine these together. So now we've constructed a garland that's of medium size, and we'll go on to the next level, which will be adding small 5-inch balloons to the garland and 24-inch. If you would have chosen a medium or large size garland, in your garland kit you will find a 24-inch balloon as well, or balloons, and I will show you how to integrate those now in the garland. Please note for the bigger balloons, the necks are thicker, so you might find it slightly more challenging to tie them. But again, as I've been saying it, stay patient and it will work. So my suggestion is to take one of the longer balloons, tie it around the neck of the balloon, double knot it, and then also make like a loop. In terms of where to place the 24 inches, my suggestion is to stick to the same color clusters as the 24-inch. So I will be placing it either here or there. Both options would be good. My tip is for you to put them next to a 16-inch balloon, which will give you that more organic look. Example here, if you want to make the tail more thicker, you can put it here. Probably we'll put it here actually. And the way you do it is expand your loop and place it over one of the existing balloons. you see the tail? I think it looks quite nice. One of the signatures of Fairytale Balloons is to make a quite a thick tail, which in my opinion adds to the beauty of the garland. But if you're lacking floor space, which is also a common cause, you can more focus on the top. So now we will move on to attaching the 5-inch balloons. For these type of balloons, there are special machines that can blow them up, but I'll be inflating them with a hand pump. And again, I'll be showing you 2 different methods. One is something if you just want to get it over and done with, and the second method will be what balloon artists tend to use. There is no right or wrong way, it's whatever you feel comfortable with and whatever, I guess, is your preference for at the end for the look. It's up to you. You can just again tie this and use the sticky dots, which will be included in your DIY pack, to stick to the same color cluster. In my case, I will tie a minimum of 3 balloons together. I'll make little small clusters of balloons, of the small balloons. If you want to add a third one, just tie the next together, or if you want to have 4, do the same trick which I showed for the other balloons, which is create another 2 and then stick them together. So for this method, 2 ways you can go. As I mentioned, you can take one of the sticky dots, which will be included in your package. It's double-sided, so you can attach it to one of the balloons. Just have to be careful with it, so it peels nicely, and add it somewhere in the cluster where you see fit. Probably add there. The other method, which I'll show you now, involves rubber bands. This is what I tend to use, but using the sticky dots is also quite easy. And will give you a nice result. So to use the rubber bands, what we do is we get to the knot or to one of the necks of the bigger balloons or standard size balloons. I'll just show you here. Loop it through. I usually use 2 bands. I'll show you the method separately. So I can just move it here. So to attach smaller clusters of the balloons, like here I've created 3 of them together, to attach them to the bigger garland, you get very close, you get right to the necks of the standard balloons, put one of the bands, loop them through. For example, you can see here, hopefully you can see it well. Then you put you attach that other rubber band, just like this, and put it over one of the trios, one of the smaller balloons, and it will jump quite nicely in. So it's up to you whether you want to continue with the sticky dots or you want to go ahead with the rubber band method. And I'll just continue doing this. So once you have your garland put together by having different sizes inflated and attached to you, and once you have it positioned, you can then have a general overall look as to if there's anything that's poking out or that you don't want it to poke out. For example, I can see a bit of, you might not be able to see it, but I can see a bit of metal there, so I'm going to play around with it. Here, for example, also I can see a bit of metal. And you also have an option if you use, this is the part where we use balloon strip, you can actually, there's some more holes, so you can actually inflate additional balloons and fill up any spots or holes that you can see throughout. So as you can see actually, so this is our part that we did with the balloon strip, and this is the other part, second part, which I inflated using our professional method and technique that we use. But if you look at it, there's not too much of a difference. You can't say that one is really worse than the other. They both look good. And the balloon strip, it does give you the benefit of playing around. If any of them do pop, don't be too harsh on yourself. They will pop, they pop for us. And there's only 49 or 100 others to make up for them, so that's the beauty about balloon garlands. Like one popping shouldn't usually ruin the overall look of it. So this is a beautiful garland as it is. You can leave it there. In some of your packs there might be additional material that we have included, such as some foils or foil balloons, so I'll be attaching these and I'll be showing you how to inflate these shortly. If you don't have anything included, you might want to consider adding some greenery or flowers or anything really that comes to your own foils, but you don't have to. Many people leave it at that, but this is just some additional tips. So I'll show you now how to inflate the foil balloons. So you take the end of the balloon, take your balloon pump and insert it. You can see this part opens up, so you insert the nose of the pump inside and slowly start inflating that. Ideally, you should keep inflating it until you can't see any more creases. Many people get scared that they will pop if they overinflate them, and obviously there is that fine moment when you should stop pumping. But I would encourage you, just keep going until you see as least as possible creases, because that's when the balloon will have its optimum result on how it looks. To attach it, take one of the long balloons that you have, put it through, or you again can attach it by using one of the glue dots, and just choose whichever section you want to elevate the look. I might add it part to the side. I might add it here. Looks very pretty. Sometimes the ends can be a bit stubborn, so you have to work with that. Very cute. Again, no wrong or right way about doing this. So I could add some additional balls if I wanted to, but I might just leave it with 2.
I hope you have enjoyed working on our DIY kits and have actually enjoyed the process. Once again, I will say be patient and just enjoy the process. And no matter what you have created, it probably won't look the same as the other person has created or what I've created, but it will be yours. I would really love to see your results. So feel free to either send them through Instagram, which is fairytale_balloons.au, or send them through my email. The same thing, if you have any questions, please reach out on our email.